Hey guys, first regards in here, and so I'll be talking about weekly hard strategy number 38 for May 20th through May 26th. Now, this one is on Reclamation with the Battlefield conditions Unleash Fury, execute enemy booster damage dealt by 200% for 8 seconds, temporal boost, spheres appear on the map, collectively gain a power up for 15 seconds, killer instinct, ability charge restored only by kills, and major challenge, the number of Majoris enemies spawned is heavily increased, the number of Minoris enemies spawned is heavily reduced. So major challenge will kind of work against killer instinct in that you will find fewer Minoris to actually kill, so you don't actually get as much ability charge back. But that being said, I just took a power sword bulwark into this because temporal boost, the orbs you collect from this will give you a huge damage boost on top of things like recovering your HP, and we combine that with things like Unleash Fury for a 200% damage boost for 8 seconds after an execute. You will do a ridiculous amount of damage, and to be honest guys, this one is pretty easy. You can really bring whatever setup you want, like a Pyroblast or Tactical and stuff like that. I just took a power sword here today because I'm completely addicted to the power sword bulwark. So I'll show a build guide for my power sword build I use for this, but if you want other build guides for other classes, you can find those in the description below. Now for this build, I will be using the block power sword. You may be wondering why am I taking this one over the balance variant, because balance did get a buff in patch 12, but the big thing here is that even though balance has a higher base damage currently, the block weapons can achieve a higher damage based on their adrenaline surge charges, and also the bulwark especially benefits from a 0 frame startup parry from fencing and block because of perks like intimidating aura that you want to have as many triggers off as possible. So that's why we're taking this one today. Now for the perk tree here, I do take the perk armor strength first. If you have armor remaining, melee damage increases by 10%, moving here into the perk master of offense. After switching sword combat style, you will deal 20% more melee damage for 5 seconds. The cooldown is 10 seconds. Now, on the power sword, you are going to be swapping your sword combat style all the time in and out of lunges as well, so getting this 20% buff into a power rake is very easy, even on a 3+ speed block weapon. Next perk here is Perpetual Strength, and down here into Perpetual Strength again. And then we pick up the perk here, Tranquility. While in Power Roll stance, you do not lose control of heavy hits, and you cannot be knocked back. Now, with the block variant of this weapon, Power Whirl is actually pretty damn strong because what you can do is get double block charges for that immense amount of stagger on your next hit, and you will go immediately into your Power Whirl, knock over all the enemies, and also do the entire loop of the weapon attack. So, a really strong option for that, and this helps you not get staggered out of that as well. Though I will say, it can be a little bit redundant because we do have no knockback from this perk in our perk tree we'll get into later. Now, for the next perk here, we just have Melee Onslaught, which is a 10% melee damage buff. Pretty self-explanatory. Into the perk here, Hard Target for 15% less range damage while performing a light combo. This one's okay on a block version. We don't have a ton of speed, so light combos are not something we do a ton, but like against Hormagaunts and stuff, you may occasionally get a buff from this. Next perk here is Cutting Edge. Power Rake deals 50% more melee damage. You just always take this perk because Power Rake is the strongest attack on the Power Sword in general, and a 50% buff to that is incredible. Always pick this up. Reeling Blow really needs a buff at some point in time, and to be honest, the entire perk tree for a lot of these weapons needs a buff, but for now, Cutting Edge is just the way to go. Next perk here is Extremis Slayer, up here into Majoris Slayer, then we pick up Terminus Slayer, and the final perk I grab is Power Restoration for double contested health recovery during power style attacks. Now, the reason I take this one over Speed Restoration is that usually Power Style is what you were using against Minoris forms like Zangors and Hormagaunts and stuff like that, and that is usually where the double CHP recovery comes into play the most because they're the ones that chip your HP rather than like chunking it down, and if you do get your HP chunked, you will usually respond with your gun or like a plasma pistol and stuff like that, so that's why I pick up that one. And that's pretty much all there is for the melee weapon here. Now, for my secondary, you can take either the Heavy Bolt Pistol on the Heroic variant, the Ammo Reserve variant, even the Firepower one. All of these are pretty good. You don't shoot that much on the Bulwark unless it's like a Zoanthrope and stuff like that, so ammo isn't like the worst issue ever for you, and if it is, you do have an ammo regen perk in your Prestige perk tree anyways. Now, for the Heavy Bolt Pistol, I would set up this way on all variants, and for the Plasma, I just take Rate of Fire because charge rate speed is by far the most important stat on this weapon in general, and not having a faster charge shot just kind of sucks. Now for the perk tree, I do take the perk here, Plasma Collection first, into the perk Rapid Cooling, then we go all the way down the top tree for Plasma Collection, Efficient Charge, and stuff like that, because ammo economy on this gun kind of sucks, but I will say, because the Plasma Pistol does not have a magazine capacity, or excuse me, doesn't have like a direct magazine like the Heavy Bolt Pistol does, you will get a percentage restore from perks here like Auxiliary Reload. They'll just give you back a percentage of your total ammunition on Extremis kill or higher in melee, which is actually pretty good for Plasma, but I didn't actually take that on this build, but still, that is an option for you. And the final perks you grab here, of course, things like Divine Might, because damage increases are just nice to have. And to be honest, the bottom perk tree just kind of sucks on this gun because you will run out of ammo in like 2 seconds. And that's pretty much all there is for the overall weapon selection. Now, for the perk tree, I do take the perk here, Intimidating Aura first. A perfectly timed parry deals AoE damage within a 5-meter radius. The cooldown is 5 seconds. This is one of the best defensive damage perks and just damage perks in Space Marine 2 in general. It will function on both a parry and a perfect block, even though the description does not say it actually does that. But a lot of people ask me that question, and yes, Intimidating Aura does work with block weapons, so you definitely want to hear. Next perk here is Shock and Awe. Enemies in the shock area take 25% more damage. This is actually a pretty nice damage buff when you actually combine this with things like emergency countermeasure for a free shock nade every 45 seconds. You do get quite a bit of extra damage, though I will say you are missing out on the range damage reduction from scramble targeting. This is still a pretty decent option. Next perk here is Steel Within. When your health's less than 50%, you take 30% less health damage. When you're playing the Bulwark class, having at least one damage reduction perk like this makes you substantially tankier because you have a starting HP increase of 30%, so any damage reduction on top of that is going to make you kind of just an absolute Bulwark. Okay, no pun intended. Not even a pun. Point is that you are super tanky on this guy, and taking one damage reduction perk like this will be incredibly noticeable. Now, if you want to go for like full maximum damage on things like your power roll and stuff like that, you could take defensive advantage. I don't think this one is that good because a 30-second cooldown for a 5-second shock area as opposed to a 45-second cooldown for an entire shock grenade is not that good, but you can get to like some extra damage here with Shock and Awe if you want to do that. That is up to you, but I just took Steel Within because this one just makes your life significantly easier. Next perk here is Focus Restoration. Every 30 seconds, all team members automatically restore one armor segment. This is just free damage reduction for your entire team. Getting armor back for squishier classes like Tech Marine, even the Sniper sometimes, and the Tactical especially that has no armor restore is super valuable in Space Marine 2, and this also just stops all incoming melee damage because, as I always say in pretty much every video, any amount of armor remaining will reduce all incoming melee damage to 0, even from bosses, which is why armor is so damn strong in this game, because a sliver of armor will do a ton for you in any melee situation against Chaos Spawn and Carnifexes and stuff like that. Next perk here is Purity of Purpose. The banner deals damage over time to enemies in this area of effect. This perk is incredible. With the perk over here, Glory Shield, you can almost 100 to 0 a warrior's HP with like one banner because this one just does that much dot, and you will wipe out Majoris. You will deal free damage to bosses. It is by far the best perk in this column, and the perk here, Rapid Regeneration, is kind of okay sometimes, but this actually cuts your banner duration in half, which makes your overall class ability significantly worse, which is why I pretty much skip over this one all the time. Though I will say, if you want to take this for like range fire, that's really the only place it is good because the banner already pretty much makes you immune to melee damage because of that melee damage reduction from any amount of armor remaining, and also focus strength just sucks. Next perk here is Glory Shield. All team members in the banner's area of effect take 20% less damage, and the banner lasts 20% longer. Now, obviously, the perk down here, Invigorating Icon, is better. Getting full HP back is an incredible tool in Space Marine 2, but personally, I prefer Glory Shield because, number one, we don't get a banner cooldown increase, and we also just get more effective banners overall, which is way more fun to play with in my opinion, and also makes Purity of Purpose significantly better, and also a 20% damage reduction for your whole team. That is also very strong, so a great perk here for sure, and to be honest, all the perks in this column are quite strong for different reasons. Next perk is Merciless Resolve. After a Shield Bash, Shield Rush, or Thunder Hammer Pommel Smash, melee damage increases by 15%, you do not lose control for heavy hits, and you cannot be knocked back for 10 seconds. This is just the no knockback enabler on this build. Without this, you will get knocked over occasionally, and all you have to do to trigger this perk at all for that 15% melee damage buff and that no knockback, and to reapply this, you just have to wait for the 10-second timer to go up, and you can just Shield Bash the air again, so really easy to pull off over and over. Next perk here is Emergency Countermeasure. When your armor is fully depleted, a reserve shock grenade automatically detonates at your position. Cooldown is 45 seconds. This will help you wipe out Majoris, deal free damage to bosses, Majoris, and even Extremis, and also give you a damage boost from Shock and Awe, though pretty strong option here, though if you want to, you can take the perk here, Defensive Mastery, to one-shot Extremis or Majoris every 90 seconds, so I will say, If you trigger this perk simultaneously with the perk Intimidating Aura over here, you will just one-shot the guy you parried if it's like an Extremis, which doesn't give you an Execute, which can lose you HP and armor. Just keep that in mind. Now, for my prestige perk options, I do take the perk Resilience first. Medicae Sims restore 40% more HP, moving here into the perk Overcharge. Held and charge attack damage increases by 20%. This is a multiplicative damage bonus to your power rake attack. Just keep in mind, this will not affect the power roll stance on the power sword at all, just your power rake. But that being said, power rake is like one of the strongest attacks in this weapon anyway, so you definitely want this perk. Next perk here is a Powerful Shot. Range damage increases by 20%, and the final perk is Masterful Defense. Ability charge restored by 1% for every blocked range attack. If you are not using a Thunder Hammer, because this one doesn't do anything, you have a shield, you will just take this every time. It is one of the best cooldown perks in the entire game, and you really, really want this for your banner. And that is pretty much all there is for this build, guys. And I will say the Power Sword is actually a pretty damn good weapon. The Horde clear to single target damage is pretty strong on this option. The Power Style attacks will be able to knock over Majoris very easily, and Power Whirl can also mop up warriors and chaos spawns. So hopefully this guide helped you, and if you want to watch me live to ask me questions about the game or just come hang out, you can find me here on YouTube or on Twitch with a link in the video description. And you can also join my community Discord where I help people with weeklies and hard strats and stuff like that. And as always, guys, thank you for watching. Take it easy. Bye. Alright guys, here we are on the Hard Weekly with Unleashed Fury, Major Challenge, Killer Instinct, and Temporal Boost. Now, I have been positively addicted to this Power Sword build I've been using. And because of that, we're taking it to the weekly. Now, this Power Sword build, you could swap it out for a fencing weapon if you want to. That is up to you. Block is definitely superior here. And when it comes to weapons like a balanced version, like a Xenophage Blade, you could also do that. The only issue I have with balanced weapons on this mission in particular is that the Tyranid Primes are kind of rude with their parry timings. On balanced weapons, it's quite a tight timing for a lot of players, so because of that, I think fencing weapons, the balance or block is better. Right. Okay. Alright, perfect. Now, if any of you guys are curious about using the Power Sword, I did recently make a guide for the Power Sword in its entirety. I should hopefully answer all your questions on this thing. And now, I'll say this, whenever I play with the Temporal Boost modifier, like all those little orbs, I never notice anything coming from these. Like, the boost does not feel very substantial at all, but they do stack a lot of numbers. I don't call it Major Challenge for no reason. Ah yes, Intimidating Aura overperforming as usual. I gotta say, there's something particular about the Power Sword in this game. You can definitely tell they put a lot of effort into it, because it feels far more substantial as a melee weapon than most of the other base ones do. The moveset at least has a lot more work put into it, feels. Alright, this is fun. Going downside Plasma Pistol here against Tyranids. Relic up there. Okay, we're cooking. Should be easy. I don't think I've ever seen this relic spot over here. But where you know. I think right in like a guardsman's bunker too. Poor guy.
Talassa, Combat Squad Heraton reporting. We lost Vox contact with Combat Squad Phaedrus. Do you know their status? Phaedrus went silent, Heraton. We must consider our brothers lost then. Our objective is to secure the Psychonic warheads at all costs. Let us remake this vessel into an instrument of retribution.
You know, as far as like the new maps go, I think Reclamation is definitely the best one we got for Tyranids so far. You know, oh shit, throw wonderful. Well, let's get rid of the sniper first. Guys are a pain in the ass. Yeah, as far as the new maps go, I think that Reclamation is definitely superior to Disruption.
It is tempting to fire these cannons at the nearest
A lot of
Xenos
AoEs.
vessel.
Yeah, I'll work that in the end. Or not.
One more mindless beast to slay. This infestation has persisted for too long.
And when it comes to finding a Neurothrope or Zoanthrope, you can't actually hit them with your power rake. The thing is, though, it's a pretty tight window here. Much easier than Xenophase Blade. Look at him eventually.
One more mindless beast to slay.
My plasma's so strong. Damn loves giving you a Neurothrope when you're like a solo melee class. I mean, that probably doesn't do anything, but they'll provide aura. Glorious Shield will still do its job there, but the Deathroar Heavy Bolt Pistol can be a bit better because. Alright, that should be. That didn't work for me. Perfect.
Area cleansed from the foul Xenos presence.
Alright, there we go. Now, I found that Temporal Boost can't give you back HP, but it's a little awkward. It's recovering our C HP right now. It's also recovering like our actual HP a little bit, just far slower. A bit of a weird modifier. I used to turn this on like custom strats, but there we go. Yeah, so like once the temporal boost runs out, you'll get the CHP back. So it does make the modifier significantly easier. Oh, the bump, perfect. Yeah, major challenge is certainly a major challenge because of Hordes. No pun intended. Actually, every pun intended. I need a power wall here, that'd be nice. Like this.
Standing by. Be advised. The cruiser's crew managed to execute security protocols before they were overrun by the Xenos brood.
Okay.
Disgusting tyrannid scum.
Okay, Biovore. Hello. Alright, that's very nice of you. I gotta say, Biovores are a very obnoxious enemy in Space Marine 2. They did a great job. They really wanted to make you want to kill these guys.
Beast eliminated.
Alright, Lictor, perfect, perfect.
Xenos stalker on the battlefield.
Now, since we have emergency countermeasures on top of Glory's shield, this finale here should be pretty easy for us.
Stay close.
Not the Tyranid Primes are too bad. But on this map, when you get to like this one puzzle portion, as long as you get one puzzle, you won't get the other one. So, for example, if we go through this door and we get this puzzle with matching symbols, we have to deal with the other one, like searching the servitors later. Yes, okay. So we just gotta go straight to the reactor cooling. And one benefit of the plasma pistol here is that we will one-shot the little generator portions.
I need a mission status update from all remaining combat squads. Combat Squad Heraton here, redirecting along newly advised path. Combat Squad Octavio reporting in. Cyclonic armament secured for now. Talasa, you are nearing the reactor cooling hole. Report on all squads. We have updated our battle stratagems. Heraton, reinforce Octavio and protect the cyclonic armaments. Talasa, your new orders are to destabilize the reactor, cause a temperature spike, and the Tyranids may redirect their assault to you, buying
I'll just
Heraton
take the frag
and
grenades
Octavio
there.
some time to prime the armaments.
Usually once you have like a frag grenade or so, it's not too bad to like zero off these generator portions. I will say, back in the PTS for this map, the generators had like what felt to be 4 or 5 times more HP. Thankfully they fixed that. They like balanced them around 3 players pretty rough. Yeah, see, one charge shot will just breach one. Now the only annoying part would be the entire pool of sniper debris.
Identify blockages and remove Xenos organisms. Firing until you break through the biomass.
Here, let's do this. My more days there, perfect. Fuck out of there. And you may be aware we are a very Blood Angel sounding Dark Angel. You know, they don't have a Dark Angel's voice in the game yet, guys. Not my fault. Also, Sanguinius is the best Primarch, so there's that. Yeah. Gotta say, like, endless snipers in this game, not super fun to deal with. Got my poor bot. My poor little bot.
Identify blockages and remove Xenos organisms. Registering extreme temperature fluctuation. Plasma cooling efficacy severely reduced. Excellent, Talasa. You will need to repeat the same process at the second array. Access granted the bridge console. Elements of the cooling rod array are clogged.
So as long as we're down there, one light shot will kill them every time. There we go. Dude, this is actually surprisingly easy to kill these things with. I'm taking over here. Finish off these.
Identify blockages and remove Xenos organisms.
Oh, right. One shot off. It's unfortunate. Should be ammo up here. Maybe a little bit ambitious of me to go down there with no extra ammo. Okay, there we go. Also, let's go over here.
Watch the ground.
Fuck, killed him. Alright, yeah, we're starting with the actual ammo crate, just in case we run out again. Pick up a free grenade. I could go back for the melta bomb, but I'm too lazy to do that, so we're just gonna finish the cool runs here and move on, because we probably shouldn't need any extra ammo or stuff like that, because there's no boss spawn left. Not to leave for the primes.
Another Xenos bioform eliminated.
Identify blockages and remove Xenos organisms. All rods are now inoperational. Temperatures at critical level. Plasma reactor shutting down to prevent catastrophic detonation. Talasa, do not let the reactors cool down. This cruiser will soon perform its final
Bots
task.
actually get here.
Proceed to the decks below and force the plasma reactors to overheat.
Updating our route to the plasma reactor.
Talasa, have you received word from our brother in Combat Squad Heraton? His approach vector should have taken him through the technical underbelly. Negative, but judging by the damage, he may have taken this route. Understood. Be advised, we remain under heavy Tyranid assault. Once they feel the heat from the plasma reactors, we believe they will abandon your position. This is ill-advised, Talasa. If you do not break the reactor to detonate, the cyclonic warheads will be wasted. Combat Squad Octavio will redouble our efforts to draw the Tyranids away from your position instead.
Message received.
go. Oh, there's a huge damage buff there with Unleash Fury. Now, since we didn't get a puzzle back there, we will get one up here, but you know, we have a crack grenades. That could be a little useful, I guess. Like, where am I in the aura?
This infestation has persisted for too long.
Guys. Alright, we were almost there.
Talassa, we have lost contact with Heraton leader, and Octavio
I'll say
is
major
yet to
challenge
die.
is not too bad. You know, alternatively, you could bring in like a fire blaster here or something like that. Really, anything like Matza Majoris for obvious reasons will work quite well.
Taking up position at the reactor.
Like some crack grenades will be fun.
Attention. Authorized personnel only beyond this point. Provide sufficient ocular scan authorization in order to proceed. Security protocols dictate that only claimed principal saboteurs have entry authorization. Search the fallen saboteurs.
One more mindless piece of slave. Some remains to be missed. This infestation has persisted
Ow.
for too long.
Alright, hopefully first time's a charm here. I'll say these past couple weeklies have been pretty easy. I think the point of that is because they want any new players coming in to make sure they have their accolades and stuff like that, because patch 13 is probably dropping in the next couple weeks here. Maybe it's Skulls, we'll see.
Sacrifice is not complete until we have their eye scans.
Right, like this.
Their faces hold the ocular data we require. This one was the claim leader.
Ow. Yeah, that's a bulwark level threat, okay. Double Devourer. If one of those guys would raid, fine. But when you're bulwark and you're still within and stuff like that, you can take that pretty easily. Because the lower your HP gets, you have a ramping damage reduction, so below 25%, you're pretty damn sturdy.
Maintenance grade Delta
Temporal boost.
2839. Access granted.
Boss fight here is not too bad at all. We'll get our banner back quite easily. I'll just skip over this wave. I can't be bothered.
Warspec suggests major organisms ahead. Advance as one.
That reactor must be destroyed. Honor our brothers. Honor our chapter. The beast dives at us.
One more mindless beast slain. Banner ready to deploy.
Bad damage.
It moves to attack. These arms are like shock grenades. Area assault incoming.
We're gonna get our banner back so fast here. I'll assume he actually has Majoris.
Brace for Xenos impact.
Lands the banner. Full sanguinius. Amplify our power through fire.
Here it comes. The beast dives at us.
Down once ago.
Living pride seeks revenge on
That
us.
makes it easy. And that is a hard weekly, you know. Unleash Fury, when you have Unleash Fury and Temporal Boost going off,
Company prevails.
pretty easy to mop up those bosses. I mean, they already have pretty low HP, but
Now engage the console to cripple
if
the
you execute
reactor.
them pretty quickly
With
together,
Asa, when
you
those
skip over one of the
magnetic
phases.
stabilizers stop, prepare for rapid egress. Be advised, the gyroscopic containment shielding prevents catastrophic plasma dispersion. Plasma cores are now exposed. Caution advised. Reactor critical to Lhasa. Disengage. Do not halt for any reason. Lhasa, we're tracking your signatures. Octavio and Heraton Leader are already on board. Our brothers prevailed.
Banner ready to deploy.
Core integrity at 50% functionality. Plasma cascade in
Perfect.
reactor cooling chamber. Multiple hull
That's just
breaches
rushed, didn't we?
detected.
Probably should. Maybe I got 40 seconds after all. I mean, that's a pretty long time for this.
Warning.
Alright, guys, that is a wrap. Hopefully,
The gauntlet is about to
give you an idea of how you want to play this mission. Now, you know, there are a ton of builds you can use for that. You don't have to use a block power sword or a fencing power sword. I've just been kind of addicted to this build recently because it's super fun. But Bulwark with Intimidating Aura will do very well in this mission no matter what. Glory Shield, Invigorating Icon, stuff like that. They always kind of like overperform on these. But I think most of you guys shouldn't have too hard of a time with that one. Especially if you play with other players. It'll have to make things way easier.